Welcome to the ARMANITALKS YouTube channel. I'm your host, Armani Talks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome aboard. Every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm dropping brand new videos on how to improve your soft skills and articulate your ideas with power. Join the tribe by hitting that subscribe button right down below. Hit that bell notification and never miss another video again. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to change your own mind along with other people's minds. I was watching this powerful docuseries on Netflix recently. It was called The Making of a Tyrant, something like that. And the docuseries breaks down the rise of a lot of tyrants. It talks about Saddam Hussein, Idi Amin, Adolf Hitler, along with many other tyrants. As I was watching it, I became fascinated with the topic. What causes someone to seek that much power? And as I did more research, I learned that sometimes it's because these guys were bullied growing up. At a certain moment in their life, they felt helpless. And due to feeling so helpless at that period, they never wanted to feel helpless like that again, which caused them to build desire to become powerful. That's one reason. Another reason is due to a noble intent. This is something that surprised me because I was like, I thought tyrants knew that they were evil people. No. A lot of them had this grand vision in their mind of how the world should work, and they simply believed other people to be ignorant or unaware of the bigger picture. So with their noble intent, they wanted to cause a change, violence, whatever. If violence is needed, then it's needed. So as I was studying more about the tyrants, I was eventually led to another surprising insight. The insight was a lot of tyrants, they will put comedians in prison first. And I thought, why? Why would you possibly get funny people like comedians and put them in jail? What harm can they do? Well, if you were paying attention to one of the reasons that a tyrant becomes a tyrant is because of being bullied, feeling helpless. And when comedians are getting groups of people to laugh at the tyrant, this tyrant is losing their power in their people's eyes. And also, they don't want to be in that position of helplessness again. This is why a lot of comedians are the first to go. All this generated this insight in me, which was to change someone's mind. You don't always need a brute force. You need to take that comedic-like approach, which is more of the flow method. Because with the flow method, you may be trying to change someone else's mind, but they are completely unaware. However, by planting the idea in their mind, over time, it begins to grow and you have had your intended effects. Allow me to share a story of Augusto real quick so I drive this point home. If you're ready and excited to hear the story of Augusto, go on and drop that like for me right on below. Augusto was about to wrap up college. There was a problem in that he didn't know what he wanted to do with his career. A lot of his friends that graduated from college already, they had the 40-hour week jobs, but all these people with the 40-hour week jobs, they were typically complaining. They were whining about their boss, their work hours, what they had to do. And Augusto didn't want that. Augusto wanted to feel good regarding his career choice. So one late night in the library, Augusto was doing more research as to what he wanted his career path to be. And eventually he stumbled upon this video that talked about how you can build an Amazon business. You get suppliers from China, you get the products for cheap, you sell it on Amazon, and you make a profit. Immediately, Augusto became captivated. He was like, this is possible? Yeah, I'm going to do this, because if I do this, then I'll be my own boss. I'm going to boss up. So this is exactly what Augusto did for the next couple of months. And by the time that he ended college, his business was officially very successful. One day, Augusto, he goes to a party with a lot of his friends who have a corporate 40-hour-week jobs. And they're over here having a roasting session. And suddenly, Augusto, he begins making fun of his friends. Augusto is like, look at you guys. You guys aren't free. You guys have to do what your bosses tell you to do. Unlike me though, I am free. I am bossed up. Since Augusto was having a roast session, these other friends weren't pissed off or anything. They found this whole situation funny. Bossed up, you say. And suddenly, this whole concept of bossed up, this idea was something that resonated with all the other friends. They soon took that joke and they started to apply their own unique twist to it. One day, one of the friends, they wanted to go bowling with the other friends, but this friend was like, wait, I have to ask my wife if I could stay out and go bowling. And that's when Augusto and a few of the other friends are like, look at Ricky. He's not bossed up. He has to ask his wife if he can go bowling or not. Each of them started to have their own unique twists to the idea of bossed up. Augusto was happy because his idea was starting to spread. One day, Augusto goes to this mastermind where he's surrounded by a lot of business owners. He meets this one individual named Pablo. And Pablo, he's making a lot of money, way more money than Augusto. But there's a problem. The problem is that Pablo, he has clients who yell at him. And they don't just yell at him, they tell him what to do. They pretty much dictate his hours. Instead of working 40 hours a week, he's over here working 80 hours a week. Yes, Pablo does have his own business, but is he bossed up? Now suddenly, Augusto starts to reevaluate his whole concept of bossed up. Because if he is just applying the definition of owning a business as being bossed up, then technically speaking, Pablo is a boss. However, after Augusto is over here thinking some more, he starts to realize that being bossed up is not simply a job profession, it's also an emotional state. He has known a few people that do work corporate jobs, but they enjoy what they do. They go tap dancing to work. Even though they do not have their own business, they, in some ways, are bossed up. This idea that Augusto had in the beginning stages, simply through humor, is now starting to grow up, and now it's starting to evolve. The point being, in regards to Augusto's story, is that with ideas, through humor, it easily gets into your mind. If you're trying to brute force it, it may get into someone else's mind, but it's not always going to be accepted. But through humor, the idea is seamlessly accepted. Even when Augusto was over here making fun of his friends, since he was doing it in a funny tone, they were able to pick up this idea much quicker. So if you are someone that is in a position of power, or if you are trying to change your own behaviors, you want to ask innovative questions like, how can I bring humor into this scenario? This also works with fear. Fears aren't always logical. A lot of individuals, for example, when they first go to a club like Toastmasters and they have a speech anxiety, they don't want to give a speech. Logically speaking, they understand that giving a speech it's not going to kill them. Yet their nervous system feels like it's going to kill them. You want to ask, how can I introduce humor in this scenario? Or how can I help the person who is suffering from this fear to introduce humor in this scenario? All right, homie, like let's be real. Like you could slip and fall right now, but people are gonna forget in a couple of weeks. You ain't that special. You don't got wings. And simply by introducing that atmosphere of being funny, suddenly the fear that seemed so big suddenly becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. That is the power of being funny. So that's the whole gist of today's message. If you want to change minds, and more importantly, if you want to change your own mind, humor is not simply something of entertainment value. It is something of practical value, especially when you are trying to introduce influence and change in this world. If you would like to learn more about how to be funny and you would like a systematic approach to it, be sure to check out my new class on Skillshare on how to be funnier. In this class, you're going to understand how humor is subjective. You're going to understand how to tell a joke. You're going to learn how to deal with rejection when someone does not find your joke funny, along with a final project at the end that will allow you to be like Augusto and spread ideas through the power of the laugh. If you are ready to check out this class, check out the link in the description box or in the pinned comment. And thank you very much for joining the Armani Talks YouTube channel.